Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a different person. This is Sarita. She is my friend. I'm actually doing her makeup today on this look. It's with the new DesiKaty collab. If you want to know how I did it, just stay tuned. I'm going to do a voiceover throughout this video. So I started off by hydrating her face with the Badescu spray. She does have oily skin, but I just wanted to give her some moisturization. Then I went on straight to the eyes and primed with my favorite eyeshadow primer. This is from Essence. And I blended it all out. So with the Dose of Colors Big Browns eyeshadow palette, I went ahead and set that primer with the Tea Light shade, and then I blended into a transition shade to the shade Outdoorsy. These are very nice and pigmented, very soft. I love these eyeshadow palettes. They're really nice. Dose of Colors makes probably one of the best matte eyeshadows. Then we're going into the Marvelous Mauves palette, and I am actually using, what is this shade called? Wishy Washy, and adding that on the outer corner and dragging that into the inner corner as well. We're going back into the Baked Browns eyeshadow palette, and I am using the Tea Light shade again to highlight her brow bone. Back to the Marvelous Mauves palette, I'm actually using a very small brush and packing on the shade called Spaced Out and doing like a circular C motion on the outermost corner of her eye. I like to add a little bit of eyeshadow at a time just so I can build up the intensity that I want. I'll list all the brushes that I use in the description box. And if you have any questions of anything, if I missed it, go ahead and please leave it in the comment section, please. There's a lot of blending, adding on color on here because I like building up my colors on clients, but just letting you know. Then we're using Wine Stain from the Marvelous Mauves again, just adding more intensity, making it a little bit more smoky. She was going to work and it was daytime, so I wanted it to be daytime appropriate. Now for this part, I'm kind of like cutting the crease just because I wanted the lid shade to be very pigmented and intense. So I'm just doing that with the same eyeshadow primer that I used in the beginning of this video. And for the eyeshadow, I did use the shade called Turbo Sun. It's like a purple sparkly color. Very nice reflex. It has a like glistening sparkly finish, which is so pretty against brown eyes. I did also use my finger just because it says on the pamphlet that it's recommended, but I went onto her left eye and I used a brush as well just to see how intense that would be. But it was kind of the same payoff. I actually preferred my finger instead of the brush, but it was a little bit easier since I do have acrylic nails and it kind of like bothered the interference of applying on the eyeshadow on the lid. And again, we're intensifying the outer corner and blending with the shade called Blur from Melt Cosmetics, just so that we can have a smooth transition and not have any harsh lines. Okay, now we're going to move on to the face, and because Sarita has oily skin, I am using the One Heck of a Blot primer. This does fill in pores and it also leaves you matte. And I am also going to set that primer in place with a translucent powder, and I use very little product on Sarita because if you add too much, it's going to be a little bit too cakey. And I know this might sound crazy to put powder on top of a primer, but this really works to leave your foundation looking more flawless, make it long lasting, and you don't have to blot throughout the day. I highly recommend this if you have oily skin, but if you have dry skin, please stay away from this. If you have a combination of both, just cater to your oily side. I like to move on to concealer just because it's my routine of how I like to apply on clients. And I'm using the RCMA little color palette. You can use this for foundation, but I like to use it as a concealer and blend it out with a beauty sponge. For her foundation, I am using the Maybelline Fit Me. Again, this is catered to oily skin, so if you are oily, I recommend this very inexpensive foundation you can find at the drugstore. I also did set it with the Maybelline Fit Me powder. I always like to apply highlight before adding any face products as far as like bronzer. My first step is highlight. I always like to do this. So I'm using Mirame from Dose of Colors and DesiKaty and adding that to the tops of the cheekbones, on the arch of the brow, Cupid's bow, and the tip of her nose. For bronzer, I did use MAC Give Me Sun. This is very, very warm, so I used a little bit on her. And for blush, I used MAC Melba, which is a matte finish. I didn't want to have too much on the face just because I wanted the attention on the eyes. This is also another reason why I didn't use any eyeliner because of that, because I wanted to just focus on her eyes. But we're blending everything together so it can look seamlessly. She did apply her own mascara, which is the Loreal Voluminous Paradise, the new pink bottled one. I actually went in with a new product that I just got. This is the Melt Cosmetics All Day Everyday Eyeliner in the shade Colombia. This is very, very nice and creamy. This doesn't set right away, which is why I really, really like it. But I put it on her lower lash line and on the waterline just a bit, and I smoked it out with the Weinstein from the Marvelous Mauves palette. And she did condition her lips with the NYX This Is Everything Lip Oil. I also added Mirame on the inner corners along with Fuego. And for her lip combo, again, she wanted something nude and just something very, very subtle. So I'll list all the shades that I use on her in the description box. Again, I'm just lining her lips and then added the lipstick along with the lip gloss. And I set everything with the Art Naturals Makeup Setting Spray, which is really amazing. Amazon find. Dixie, thank you for recommending it. It is really nice. And it's also very inexpensive, so I'll link it down below as well. But that's the end of this makeup tutorial that I did on someone else, which is my friend. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you learned something new. And I will see you in my next video. Toodles!
The primer on your forehead.
Oh shit. Peace out. See you in a bit.
Wait, let me do that. Let me do the little. What is it? Where's the name? There you go.
Yeah, bitch.